Or listen to the podcast. Just search for Hancock and Kelly.
Back to the Democratic National Convention now. It made history for the first time ever, sending off a woman of color, Vice President Kamala Harris, as the party's nominee for President of the United States. We'll hear from both her and her running mate, Tim Walz. She shared personal stories about her immigrant parents in her speech.
At the park, my mother would say, "Stay close." But my father would say, as he smiled, "Run, Kamala, run. Don't be afraid. Don't let anything stop you."
It took Gwen and I years, but we had access to fertility treatments. And when our daughter was born, we named her Hope. Hope, Gus, and Gwen, you are my entire world, and I love you.
All right, now this moment right here with Walz's son Gus, who has a learning disability, sobbing and saying, "That's my dad, may have stolen the convention." Michael, are there any concerns that that moment and others outshined Kamala Harris's big moment? I think of all the star power that was hitting the stage in those 4 days.
No, what we saw there with Kamala's speech with Governor Walz was the culmination of an absolutely flawless convention. Conventions, Andy, are 4 days of putting out your own narrative with no contrarian voices. The Democrats were able to get some of the extremists or those that people don't necessarily all identify with under control. I'm thinking of the AOC, Bernie Sanders crowd. You saw the rest of the Democratic Party putting out a message of hope and change, and it was consistent all the way until the final speech. They flipped the narrative. They've changed the trajectory of this race. They've been masterful. The only thing that's been outshined here is Donald Trump.
Was it flawless? Can she be a candidate of change when she's the vice president under Joe Biden?
It was. What the Democrats did at the DNC really was masterful. And what I mean by that is if you were watching it, if you were watching that, at moments it felt like you were watching the Republican National Convention. For years we've had Republicans are the party of the American flag, of freedom, of America's the greatest country in the world, of chants of USA. But the Democratic Party, over the past week, they were able to either take back or commandeer, whatever you want to say, the words freedom and hope and joy. You had people telling their stories, including Kamala Harris, about being an immigrant family, coming to the greatest country in the world and accomplishing the American dream. I had to remind myself, this is the same party that just 4 years ago was saying no. The legacy of America is not 1776, it's 1619. It's irredeemable. We have to tear down the system. At least there were many loud voices in that party who were saying that narrative. Democrats completely turned on that. It was joyful, it was patriotic, it was exciting. I mean, I was watching it on one hand, knowing what I know. I'm a Republican, I'm a conservative, and at the same time, falling for it hook, line, and sinker because it was fun.
As the convention wound down, the Republican ticket of former President Donald Trump and Senator J.D. Vance doubled down on the border crisis. Mr. Trump visited a border wall in Arizona as his running mate went to a border policy event in Georgia.
We had a border czar who was the border czar. She loved the title, but she didn't want to do the work because she's lazy.
I was there in the Senate when they tried to pass that border security bill, and it had nothing to do with border security.
In her speech, Harris said she would sign the bipartisan border bill to address illegal crossings into law. Donald Trump urged Republicans to defeat that bill. Senator Vance obliged. Amy, what do you make of the strategy here, going down to the wall?
Yeah, I mean, they have to
for the convention.
Yeah, they have to focus on immigration because that was in her purview, at least as vice president. But I'm still, this border bill, the Republicans handled it so poorly. All they had to do was say, we're going to sign it because this is an emergency. There is urgency. It's not perfect, but look, this is an admission that the Biden administration's policies are a failure. Even Joe Biden is admitting it's a failure. We've got to do something at the border. Elect us in 2024 and we'll make it even stronger. Instead, they fell to what Donald Trump wanted, which is don't let anything happen under the Biden administration that may make him look good. Where's the urgency in that? It was awfully handled.
Any stopping of the Democrat momentum by Trump Vance here?
No. And what's crazy about the border issue is it's probably one of two issues that Donald Trump had squarely on his side. And now it's muddy and confusing, not because Kamala Harris said that she would go out there and embrace the bipartisan bill, because of Donald Trump killing the bipartisan bill. He's taken his number one issue and made it muddy. Kamala Harris has owned that issue, and I think he's taking the border discussion and put it in a place that it's not going to be the asset that it should have been for him.
Still to come on Hancock and Kelly, sour grapes. Our quote of the week is from Missouri's Republican governor taking aim at a fellow Republican. And in or out, Robert Kennedy Jr. hits a turning point in what was his quest to become president.